The AI narrative will produce the most 100x coins in crypto in 2025. And in this video, I want to show you which are my favorite AI tokens, why is so, and I want to show you specific entries and charts that I'm looking into and how you can read them and potentially make your own decisions and pick your own entries. So let's get into it because we have quite a bit of tokens on the list. And in order to produce 100x, in my opinion, first you need to have a nice blend between low market cap, good potential as a project, good chart obviously, but also lower probability for the project to rock. Yes, technically, if a coin is, let's say, 1 or 2 million in market cap, it has very high potential to get to 100x just because it's not such a big jump, to get to 100 million of market cap. However, this is also where the biggest risks are. So I'm trying to manage this and to avoid this, but obviously anything we discuss in this video is huge risk. Most of the tokens are below $100 million in market cap. So just keep in mind that this is highly risky, and obviously I'm not a financial advisor. But before we get into the smaller cap tokens, I want to show you a few AI plays that I believe you should have AI exposure, and I believe that some of those are a great way to start at the higher end of the market caps that I'm looking into. The first one that I do own already is called EOS, and it's actually got a very, very nice chart. And also a big plus for this coin specifically is that listed on Coinbase and quite a bit of major exchanges, so it's quite popular. And it had a really nice accumulation range. I took an early entry here before the breakout, and I haven't really sold anything. I'm actually looking for a place to add a little bit more because I do like this coin and how it's trading, because you can see here, it's an older coin, but really we're trading very nicely. So after the first push, we had an accumulation here. Then we had another push to the upside. Then now we had a second reaccumulation much higher than the previous one. And now hopefully we're looking to break into new all-time highs. And if you don't have an entry in a position and you're interested in this token, I'm not gonna get into the fundamentals of all of these. Obviously you can do your own research, we don't have the time. But if you're looking for a good entry, I think there are a couple of options here. So first of all, this is clearly a leg to higher that broke out, and any retest into this sweet spot retracement zone around 60 cents, I think it will be a great entry. And of course, it gives you very good invalidation. If we're back into the range, this is not ideal. So this will make for a very good cutoff point and very close to invalidation if we get there, because I think the market is starting to heat up and maybe we don't get those great entries. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive, or maybe you want to DCA, I believe we could run those lows right here if Bitcoin currently at 100k or so has a leg down or accumulates. Maybe people get scared. I think somewhere around here could be a nice start to enter a position. If you don't have any, I will be patient. I will wait either for this retest or potentially for a little bit more price action and a potential breakout higher. So something like this. Maybe we start trending again to the upside and have another breakout here. This is also another option that you could do. And in order to get an entry in any of those tokens, I strongly suggest put them on a watch list, track them regularly, set alerts for prices that you're interested, and don't be just hoping that maybe they'll get to your point, because there's quite a bit of tokens that are on the list, and a little bit of alpha and teaching here. And I do teach quite a bit about trading on my channel, so stick around if you're interested. But there are usually people in two camps that say, you should have 1 or 2 coins, don't get overexposed on many different projects. And there are people on the other side, they're like, I want a piece of everything just because I'm a really degenerate and so on. I'm trying to be somewhere in the middle, because on one side, you need to be a really good picker to pick just one, even if the chart looks good, to pick just one and for it to be the profitable one. And that's, I think, very few people are like this. And also, I think you need a little bit more diversification than 1 or 2 tokens in a narrative, because something like this could happen. So PAL here was considered the darling in AI, and very clean chart. Again, similar pattern like EOS. It had an accumulation here, another one reaccumulation in this area, and it just looked like it's starting to break out again, and it was leading the market at that time. And then they made a huge mistake, in my opinion. They were trying to join together with another big AI project, but it was really bad for the holders of PAO. Now they reversed it, and they said they're not going to go through with the merger. However, you could see what happened. And if you are holding only PAO because this is your high conviction bet and you're drinking moon juice, you'll be eating shit right now. Even though if this could recover and it'll be good in crypto land, but it's still not a pleasant experience to have a, what is this, 60% candle on the day, minus 65%. So that's why I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm trying to have a basket of AI tokens, but not also getting into every single AI token because they're impossible to track. So EOS, as I said, this is probably my number one pick from the higher market cap. Akash it's looking good. It's just, for me, it's too old. Honestly, it's got too much price history here, and it's quite big of a market cap. That's my minuses for it. That's why I've decided not to have it. But honestly, I was looking at it right here when it was testing these lows, and from then it's been just up only. But I think right now it's not the best place to enter Akash if you're looking into it. I have a video on my channel about it and the fundamentals. I do like it in general as a project, but as I said, there are so many picks that it's hard to make decisions. But what I would be looking for is either for this level to hold. So even on the weekly, you could see this. It's a crucial level around this area. So this is around $3.5 to $4. I would want this level to hold and maybe accumulate here to give you another potential breakout. Or I could see this testing this order block here. Ideally, we don't want it to go deeper into this because technically you are still bullish even if we retest this area around here for a higher low. So if we get, like this, and then maybe we go higher, this is not, in the market that we are, technically in a bull market, Bitcoin is raging past big numbers right now, and we don't really want to see that deep of a pullback on Akash unless it's a quick one. If you see a candle of minus 20-30%, it gets you into this area. I think this could be a great buy for a bounce, and then you see how it will react around this area again, around 3.6. Maybe it turns it into resistance. But if you get a quick washout, then it's a good entry. But if we slow bleed into here, I wouldn't be messing with Akash. I want to see strength in this kind of environment that we're in. And I would ideally even prefer buy a breakout somewhere in this area if we get a bit more price action, and then base my risk below this area here, 20%. Not too terrible if you're just playing with spot. So Akash is a big one. Another one that I really like, and I like the chart also, is AO.net. This is also with very good exchange diversification. It's also on Coinbase, and the chart's been looking very good. I've actually marked out areas of interest. Today we just stacked this a little bit, but if we dig deeper and come anywhere here around 220, this zone, so previous accumulation breakout, I would say, of this accumulation here. So if we get anything in here, I'll be willing to test the waters on an AO breakout or a retest here. Because it's quite an interesting project, not too high market cap, and the chart just looks better than most other bigger projects that I've been looking into. So definitely I'm putting this on watch, and as I said, I'm hunting for an entry. Another one that not sure if it counts exactly as AI, Arkham, it's called. Again, another one with great exchange diversification, and since September looking very, very strong, keeping this trend line. And as you can see, very predictable. It hasn't had massive moves, just maybe once or twice with bigger candles. It hasn't gone parabolic, which is actually great because a lot of these tokens just pump and dump. But you can see this area is significant, and if it keeps the structure of higher highs, higher lows, I would ideally want it to stay above this area. But here, I would say if you're late to it, or if it doesn't give you a dip, I would say somewhere in this area, if we get into here and have a little bit of price action like this, I think this would also be a good entry. Although it's gonna be higher than what we are right now, but right now we're just chopping around. You could see today's candle is not even great. It's not looking that great. On the weekly, it does look bullish, so it could give us a pullback, as I said, into this area, which will be, I think, the better entry and the higher probability entry, because this is not too far. And as I said, if Bitcoin gives us a quick wash, I think this area here will be a buy for Arkham. I'm personally not that interested in it. I had a position in this. I made some money, but for now, it's, again, priorities. Tau is probably the biggest AI project. I'm not going to cover it here because it's too big, but as you can see, it's setting up nicely. It's recovering now from this move. It had a big move to the upside in a few weeks, and now it's just, chopping around. So maybe not ready for another leg higher, but just, wanted to show you the chart here. And as I said, I'm not going to personally trade it. Another one that it's, I would say, a little bit higher market cap is Desync. This is coming into like 400 million market cap. Chart's been looking very good and very strong. And after what Powell did, it seems like people kind of rallied around Desync. And ideally, let me just delete all those lines. Ideally, this entire thing right here turns into a massive accumulation. It's been already showing quite a bit of strength, even on the weekly, you could see. And if we get a pullback, I think, again, this could be a really nice buy. I'm not sure if you're going to get it, honestly. So even a consolidation around this area. I'm also not sure I'm personally going to buy this. I don't have any, but if we have some kind of price action around this area, so maybe even test the lows here, and we see like a wick below this, something like this. So we come down, we wick below it and retrace again above this level and hold it as support. I think this would be an ideal entry, or just wait for a little bit more price action to develop here and potentially give us like a nice setup to base our risk off. Because I don't really like, if I buy it here, this will be like 30% risk to the downside. And of course, the potential to retest this level, so it's much higher now if you ask me, but I wouldn't be rushing into a position right now, or maybe wait, as I said, for the breakout, potentially a little bit higher. I don't think it's terrible to play breakouts in this market environment and just keep the risk management tight. As I said, don't look for like minus 30% before you are invalidated on a trade. Or there's also another way to play this. If you really want this thing, because a lot of influencers are shilling it, just start DCAing. So buy some here. Let me use this arrow. So buy some in this area. Maybe here, just position size it accordingly. If you're not willing to play catch, or maybe you're afraid you're gonna miss the move, or you don't know if it's gonna go up, but you're bullish on it, that's up to you. But of course, manage your risk accordingly with the position side, and don't go like all into it. So another one that I'm watching is GPU. I have a small position. I have a history with this token. It faked me out a few times, so I've lost some money on it. Currently, the position is in profit, in the money, but you could see like the price action. So I took this breakout of accumulation, and then we went down here and we chopped around this area only to make a new high in a couple of quick days. So you see that it's very choppy, and the entire like structure of this market, it's really choppy. I just really like the project fundamentally, and I think they have a cool name, GPU and so on. Fully diluted market cap is around 100 mil right here. So really nice token in my opinion, a long term, but it's definitely trading like shit, honestly. And it's been pissing me off. I've been hesitant to add to it, so maybe I'll just keep my positioning smaller just because the chart is not so clean and it hasn't been trading me very well. But it's another one that it's interesting, and I think it's worth a mention. On the weekly, again, you can see this area is definitely key. And technically, if we close the week, which is pretty much today, if we close above this, I think this is quite bullish, and it's getting more bullish compared to what we had last week, for example, with this retest. Although technically we dug deep into it, but we closed at support pretty much. So it's nice to see this level hold. Maybe if we get a little bit lower, around 80 cents, I will add a little bit more exposure to my position, because then it gives me a nice little risk here to play with. So if we go to like 80 cents again, this is about, yeah, 20% for a small, because keep in mind this will be a small position for me. For a small position, it's okay. Another one that it's quite interesting is Strawberry. I like this one. It's called Strawberry AI. First of all, one of the better things about this is that it's fresh. It's new. It doesn't have price history. It's around 25 million market cap currently. I did trade it around this area, but it broke down. So now it's starting to show again strength and a potential easy breakout, I would say, because if it does this and then comes back to retest it, this will give us again a nice entry here that we could play around with. And this one, with the name also, I know I'm not aware of the whole story honestly, but there was something with the ChatGPT guys are working on some new version or some new product that is called Strawberry. I think it's just a coincidence. I'm not sure with this token, but in general, the product that they have is a search engine for crypto stuff, and it just gives you on Telegram information like what is the narrative and so on, what tokens people are talking about, which I think is pretty cool. It gives you some utility, and it's quite interesting to read the summaries. And as you can see, the price action has been looking pretty decent. So that's another one. And you can buy this only on DEXs. And one of the good things is that they don't have tax for getting in and out of it. Because usually, you know, these DEX tokens, they have like 5% tax. Like some of those that we're going to look into, like, for example, Neuro, if I remember correctly. Another one that I like, it's around 80 million. It's only on decentralized exchanges. And this one's expensive to buy. Like you gotta pay like 5% on Ethereum to get into it. But this one is actually looking also pretty decent. I've marked out this area if we get back then there to potentially give me an entry, but it's been just trending nicely. It doesn't have a shit ton of back holders. We're pretty much at all-time highs, and yet we're fairly cheap. So this token, I think, is also quite interesting. And if you like it, this currently is a fake out breakout as it stands of right now of today. But these are also quite choppy, these tokens, because of the valuation and the way they trade. But I think any entry somewhere around here, around $6, could be very good if we get there, of course. Or maybe, you know, a little bit more aggressive if you want to start scaling in. I think around $7 also is not a terrible you know, place to start bidding if you really want exposure. But since, you know, I'm not in a rush, I do have AI exposure already, I could be patient with this one and just wait for a better entry on it, because I already missed quite a few entries on this one. Just keep this in mind, you know, being fully transparent with you guys. Another one that I have a really small position into is 01 Labs. It's called DEAI is the ticker. It's on some exchanges, but not that many. Again, fairly similar valuation currently. And again, chart is looking quite strong. The weekly is the one that is kind of giving me a little bit of concerns here, because as you can see, it had a big push. It hasn't really had a dip, only this one, which bought up pretty quickly. But I would say if it recharges in this area, so if it gives us a little bit more time to reaccumulate and not just dump here, that will be great, because this will be a very good sign of strength. And I will be watching this very closely, because I want to be adding. I actually did add a little bit, if I remember, yesterday on this wick. So I'm just trying to build into a position. This is, again, not going to be a huge position, but I do want to have exposure. And I'm liking the way it's behaving right here. So just wanted to point it out there, because it's quite interesting. There's another token that I'm also in. Let me find it. It's called Spectre AI. This one is only 20 million. Very interesting story. They have a very good tool for market research. You can plug in some data, and it's like a search engine for crypto stuff with AI. And my entry is somewhere around here, so it's just somewhere below the all-time high. And as you can see, it's been just so very clean chart, and it's been just accumulating for months. This is from April, and it had plenty of opportunities to dump, and it didn't. And they have a working product, which is great. You know, they're just tick, 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 several boxes in my head. And I really, really like this one. So I'm waiting to add a bit more if we get lower somewhere around here. But even on a breakout, I think this is a decent token to own. Just even if you don't like look into the project, just based on the chart, I think this is one of the most bullish charts in AI crypto that you could see. There are a few others like this from smaller valuation that I'm also a big fan of. Palm AI is another one. I do have a position in Palm from somewhere around here, from like 70 cents. I'm still looking to scale in. And you might say, okay, maybe I'm late and so on. Technically, I don't think you're late, because if these things move, that's the beauty of it. Like, this is a 20 or 30 million dollar market cap, maybe 40. Still, very cheap token, you know. And if things start getting out of control, you guys haven't seen parabolic price action. Like, this was parabolic here on Palm. Right here, this was 4,000%. I have history of this. I'm not gonna bother you. I've mentioned it somewhere on the channel. And I traded here and made some money, but sold like a like an idiot before the pump. But now just look at the strength on this. It's reaccumulating higher. This is the favorite pattern that I have, and I always keep looking for. And you can see now it's breaking out at another area right here of potential resistance. But this thing has a product that they are offering to clients already. I think they're also burning tokens with some of their revenue. They do have a physical product that they're working on to, like a physical assistant with AI capabilities. You know, it's a very, very solid project. They do have also some influencers behind them. Becker is talking about them. And I've seen others also discuss this token on Twitter. And it's just one of the better picks, in my opinion, compared to what they've delivered, what they have survived, and also what their current market cap is. It's just one that I'm quite bullish on, and I'll be looking for dips to add more, because I want to build a position into this one, and I think any dips should be for buying. Another one that I wanted to show you is ChainGPT. I do have ChainGPT. I bought it here as a test for their what was it called, for the launchpad that they have. Turned out to be a complete disaster. Launchpads are not for everyone, trust me on this one, unless you're a whale. It pumped. I missed the whole pump because my tokens were staked for like 6 months. I added a bit more somewhere around this area. It's showing signs of accumulation again, but it's definitely slow. The good part is that once the bull market starts going, people will want to have like launch pads, and they will lock their tokens like what I did right here. And potentially if it breaks out, it could catch some legs. It's not my favorite token of all time. Like, all the others that I just described are probably higher conviction bets, but since I've been holding this forever, I was like, what the hell, I'm just gonna keep it for the bull run anyways, because I don't want to cut it here and lose some money. It's not a huge position, but still, it's gonna stink waiting for so long, and finally after a few weeks it just blows up. This will suck. So I'm stuck with it, but I'm okay with it, and I think it's starting to shape up nicely here. Another one to discuss, and in general another kind of narrative that is developing in AI, is those agents that you see on Twitter, that they're autonomous and they tweet and all those bullshit. GOAT is the biggest one. This is on Solana. It's looking very good actually. I'm interested in scale into some GOAT in this area right now. This is, I think, high risk, although this is already at like 800 million. I'm pointing this out only because it's another AI narrative within the entire AI narrative about these agents. I'm not gonna try to research and find which are the best agents at a lower market cap valuation, but I could add just to like the one that's on top, just for some exposure, because if it takes off, I think it's gonna be good. This one has a lot of people that have made a lot of money already, but as you can see, it's already listed on major exchanges, and the chart is looking quite strong. Healthy correction here, and actually very nice cutoff point here, even if you want to enter right here. I don't think it's a terrible idea, honestly. So GOAT and the AI agents thing is definitely one to watch. A lot of people on Twitter are talking about it, so if you want, just do the research. There's another one that I want to show that's ultra low cap. It's called Type AI. This is a kind of a bot that you could just type anything into it and it will do like a website for you, or all kinds of other stuff that potentially, could deliver. This one is currently less than 10 million in market cap. It had a massive pump, and as you can see, it had a massive sell-off as well. I don't own any of this, but I could openly talk about it because nobody cares about my videos anyway. And I can see this getting traction again because the product is not terrible. Usually a lot of these tokens just fade and die, but this one is showing some strength, reaccumulated. And if it starts breaking above this level, like 80-90 cents, I think could be a ultra low cap pick with potential. But again, the risk of this rugging is also not small. So I'm just going to leave it, and we're going to end the video on it. But yeah, there's a lot of action in AI. I do have exposure. As I said, I'm looking for some more entries on a potential dip the coming week. And yeah, guys, pick your poison. And I think definitely you should have some AI exposure. See you in the next one.